Hello and welcome to today's podcast. My name is Ryan Johnson, your host, and today I've got Paul Johnson, our VP of Operations, on with me. Paul, happy day.
Thank you, Ryan.
That was it, Friday.
Today is Friday, isn't it?
Today is Friday. I love Fridays. I think yesterday, Paul bought us Xboxes yesterday. We are
That's right.
low-key, kind of casual gamers who like to play. Paul and I
That's right.
used to live right next to each other, but now there's 10 hours between us. So we like to get on a weekly basis so we can chat, play together, and whatnot. But as you may know, with the Xbox and the PS5, those things are flying off the shelf, hard to find. So we could not wait for Black Friday. But I have to add that, Thanksgiving, we are basically on the brink of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is going to be upon us in the next few days. And one of the other things that I look forward to close to Thanksgiving is Black Friday shopping. I don't like going to the stores, but I like to see what's available online.
Amen.
And we all know, because of the COVID pandemic and, and leading up to this year, I think more and more people are shopping online around the holiday season than ever before. And this year is going to be no exception. There's going to be, my guess is, I'm just reading over a few things, all the finance people, economic people are talking, this is probably going to be way bigger of an online shopping holiday season than ever. And so, Paul, I wanted to talk to you about kind of what sales tax implications there could be and how to address, what issues you may have and what you should be looking at as an online seller when it comes
Sure.
to the holiday rush.
For sure. In 2020, with the whole coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen, as I'm sure most people in America have seen, just an increase in influx in online shopping. Not as many people going to the stores, and I think that the state's economic nexus legislation that they've enacted or that they've put in place is to their benefit, to the state's benefit rather, so that they can capture as much of those sales and as much of that tax responsibility as possible. But from a seller's perspective, if I'm a business during this time, and I'm trying to be compliant across the board, it can be rather confusing and complicated. I just had a call this morning actually with a current client who is selling through a marketplace facilitator, but she also has one retail location and makes sales on her own website. And obviously the retail location from this current client's perspective is not doing anything. Amazon's still doing Amazon type sales, but her website is starting to blow up. And so we had the discussion just this morning again of watching out for where you're crossing and meeting those economic nexus thresholds. So if I'm an online seller, especially at this busy holiday season where sales, a lot of buyers are starting to purchase more and more things, and your sales are going to balloon. It's important to understand not only your current nexus footprint, but keeping an eye on those economic nexus thresholds in other states where you're not registered, because you could very well, in a matter of a couple of weeks during this holiday season, exceed that economic nexus threshold, requiring you to get registered. It may not be something because you haven't crossed the threshold just yet, and so you may not need to be registered right now. But after the holiday season, once you've crossed that threshold, you likely will cross that threshold and likely have a responsibility to be registered.
So you're not only going to be looking at the sales you're making this next couple of months, the holidays, but you want to be looking at months past, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was it like up to a year
A lot of the
And
states, it's the current calendar year, but there are a number of states that it's just a rolling 12-month period. So just take a look at 12 months from today and count the number of transactions, count the total volume of sales, and determine what it is by state.
Is it also important to note, the kind of products you're selling?
Yeah, that has a big impact. You're understanding your Nexus footprint and where you've established Nexus, as we continue to preach and talk about, is step number one. But then step number two is understanding your tax responsibility and the taxability of your products. If it's all dietary supplements or food or what have you, then potentially your tax responsibility is zero. So understanding the taxability of the goods that you're selling or the services that you're providing electronically. A lot of businesses just provide a service. Internet of Things, that's a big deal now. So understanding the taxability. Step number two, once you've established Nexus, take a look at what the taxability of your products are. Is huge. It's a good point.
This is a lot of stuff we preach a lot. This is our main kind of topic of discussion, and we will have case studies. We'll talk about, you talked about a call you had this morning,
right?
And this is probably a call you have every day.
Daily it seems like, yeah,
multiple
number
times. And that's kind of the three questions, we call it, that we always address in your call with our what's next call. And that's what we preach. It seems simple. It seems that we talk about it all the time, obnoxiously maybe, but maybe you haven't heard it before. But Paul is usually on those calls. So if you schedule your call, that's what's going to go. You're going to go through the Nexus. You figure out your Nexus thresholds and do some discovery there, and talk about your products. Because a lot of times, if I'm not mistaken, Paul, companies are probably selling all sorts of different products instead of just one.
Yep.
So
a hodgepodge of things.
Yeah, so it can get kind of complicated. And if you're just doing internet research, it would be tough to figure out exactly whether or not your product is taxable.
The other thing that we've experienced or run into is companies who are selling to other retailers or to other distributors. And so understanding your customer base can also be important, whether or not you should be charging those customers tax. So, but if you could collect a resale or an exemption certificate, then the taxability of your product, it may be taxable, but who you're selling it to could be exempt. Maybe you're selling it to a certain school or a government entity. It's possible, depending on the state, that could be an exempt transaction. But if you're selling to me as a consumer, then it would be taxable, but depending on who you're selling it to. So taxability of your goods is good, but also who you're selling to is also important to review.
That's a great point. So if you are an online seller and you anticipate this holiday season being big, it will not hurt to be looking into your sales tax responsibilities. And a great place to start is with the what's next call. So go ahead, find the link down in the show notes, make sure and schedule your time. It's a short form for you to fill out, just for us to get to know who it is we're talking to, because I think it really helps when people fill out this information, so we can kind of skip a small portion of the time that it would take to get to know what kind of business you are and products you sell. So it's useful there. So go ahead, fill out that form, get scheduled, and we can definitely help you out this holiday season.
Absolutely. And just a final plug, once you get an understanding of your Nexus and taxability, then it becomes time to file and remit your returns. And whether you're filing those returns or outsourcing them to a company like Peisner Johnson, we'd be happy to talk sales tax compliance and help simplify that and provide peace of mind when it comes to filing and remitting those returns. So that's just another way that we can help provide peace of mind if you're unhappy with your current provider. This is the time, to be quite honest, once your annual returns have been filed in January, to transition. That's the easiest transition period. So filing or remitting sales tax returns, it's not going anywhere. Death and taxes, right? But we could definitely offer peace of mind through that What's Next call and by offering some services to help.
Right. I like what you said there is you can't get rid of it. It's not going to go away. It's definitely not going to go away. But you can have peace of mind and you can be comfortable with it.
That's right.
And you become trusting with someone that can actually handle it. Thank you, Paul, so much for your time today. And I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on another one.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everybody. Hope you guys have a great day.